All right, let's talk about cephalexin. It's one of the most common antibiotics out there, but we're not going to do a dry, boring list of facts. No, we're going to go on a microscopic mission to see how this tiny pill wages an all-out war on the cellular level.
I mean, have you ever really thought about it? You take a capsule, you feel better in a few days, but what's actually going on in between? What's the battle plan? Because it's so much more than just medicine. It's a microscopic mission. We're deploying a highly specialized weapon against a very specific enemy. And to win a fight like this, you have to know your target inside and out.
So let's kick things off with a little intel on our adversary, the bacterial cell. Because, understanding its greatest strength is the absolute key to uncovering its greatest weakness. Now check this out. This is the fundamental difference. Our human cells, they have a soft, flexible membrane. But bacteria, they've built themselves a fortress. They have this rigid, protective cell wall. It's their shield, protecting them from everything. And it's our #1 target.
And the material that makes up this fortress wall is called peptidoglycan. The best way to think of it is as the bacteria's body armor. It's this super strong, mesh-like structure that literally keeps the bacterium from bursting under its own pressure. Take away that armor, and it's completely defenseless.
Okay, so we know the enemy and its weakness. Now, let's meet our weapon of choice, Cephalexin, which you might know by its brand name, Keflex.
So, Cephalexin is a first-generation cephalosporin. Now, first generation just means it was one of the earliest in its class, kind of like an early iPhone. Still incredibly powerful and effective, but more specialized than the later versions. It's in the same big family as penicillin, and its mission is crystal clear. It's bactericidal. That means it doesn't just slow bacteria down. Its entire purpose is to kill them directly. So, the big question is, how does this one little molecule take down a fortified bacterial cell? Well, let's get into the takedown strategy, because this is where it gets really clever. The secret isn't a frontal assault. It's sabotage. See, bacteria have these special enzymes called penicillin-binding proteins, or PBPs for short. Think of these guys as the microscopic construction crew that's working 24/7, constantly building and repairing that peptidoglycan body armor we just talked about. And this is the 4-step attack. It's brilliant. First, cephalexin finds that construction crew, the PBPs. Step 2, it binds to them, basically grabbing their tools and jamming them so they can't do any more work. Step 3, with the repair crew totally out of commission, the cell wall starts to weaken and crumble. And finally, step 4, catastrophic failure. The internal pressure is too much, the cell wall breaks, and the bacterium ruptures and dies. Mission accomplished. Now, like any specialized weapon, Cephalexin isn't a magic bullet for every single enemy. It has a very specific hit list, which is really important for understanding when and why doctors decide to use it. As a first-gen antibiotic, Cephalexin really shines against what we call gram-positive bacteria, like staph and strep. And there's a really simple reason for that. Gram-positive bacteria have a thick, totally exposed peptidoglycan wall. That body armor is just sitting there, an easy target. Gram-negative bacteria, on the other hand, are sneakier. They have an extra outer membrane that acts like another layer of defense, shielding the wall and making it way harder for Cephalexin to get in and do its job. And that's exactly why you see these gaps against major threats like MRSA or Pseudomonas. So, based on that specific target list, doctors prescribe it for a whole bunch of really common infections. It's a go-to choice for skin infections caused by staph, classic strep throat, certain UTIs, and even things like dental infections. This is where all that science really connects with the patient experience.
But, no mission is ever without risk. It's absolutely crucial to understand the potential for collateral damage, what we call side effects, and some other really important safety info.
Yeah, this chart really puts it into perspective. By far, the most common side effects are gastrointestinal. Things like nausea and diarrhea make up the huge majority of the problems people report, which is actually pretty typical for a lot of oral antibiotics. And here's the reason why that happens. Cephalexin is a powerful weapon, but it's not a perfect sniper. It can sometimes disrupt the natural healthy ecosystem of good bacteria living in your gut. When that happens, it can create an opening for a nasty bacterium called C. difficile to overgrow, and that can lead to some really severe diarrhea. It's one of the unintended consequences of the mission.
Okay, let's tackle a question that comes up all the time. Since cephalexin is related to penicillin, is it safe to take if you have a penicillin allergy?
Well, the data gives us a pretty specific number. There's about a 5 to 10% chance of what's called cross-reactivity. So what that means is, if you took 100 people with a true penicillin allergy, somewhere between 5 and 10 of them might also have a reaction to cephalexin.
So here's the crucial point. The type of allergic reaction you had really matters. If someone had, say, a mild rash from penicillin many years ago, a doctor might still consider using cephalexin cautiously. But, and this is a big but, if the reaction was severe and immediate, like anaphylaxis, then it's almost always avoided. Patient safety has to come first, period.
Okay, let's zoom the camera all the way out. This one single mission against one infection, it's really just one small battle in a much larger global conflict, the long war against antibiotic resistance.
You see, every single time we use an antibiotic, we're giving bacteria a chance to learn, to adapt, and to evolve. And through overuse and misuse, we're basically running a training camp for our enemies, letting them develop defenses that make our most important medicines totally useless over time.
The good news is, we can all be part of the solution. It means using antibiotics only when they're truly necessary. Remember, they do nothing for viruses like the common cold. It means taking the exact dose at the exact right time. And this is so critical. It means finishing the entire prescription, even after you start feeling better. You have to do that to make sure all the invaders are truly wiped out.
And that really brings us to our final thought. Medicines like Cephalexin aren't infinite. They are a precious line of defense that we can absolutely lose if we're not careful. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is, are we doing enough to protect them for the generations to come?